You know, summer's just around the corner, which means warmer temperatures, trips to the pool and golf course, Father's Day on June 21st, and grilling out in the backyard. Dad doesn't want another tie or watch. He wants the tender, juicy taste of his favorite steak grilled to perfection. So this Father's Day, give your grill master something the whole family will enjoy. The finest proteins from Omaha Steaks. Every steak and entree is flash frozen and vacuum sealed at the moment of carving. So no matter when your dad enjoys his meal, it will taste as fresh as the day it was carved. When you order from Omaha Steaks, your satisfaction is always guaranteed. So you can order with complete confidence. A gift from Omaha Steaks is something the whole family can indulge in to celebrate the holiday. This Father's Day, give the dads in your life something to savor. World-famous Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code YUM at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code YUM at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details.
You think a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt is the worst that could happen until you get in a crash. Suddenly, a ticket doesn't seem so bad. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hashtag no music, no intro. We are back. The Saints Block Party podcast presented and brought to you by Precious Works LLC. For any of your business website needs, reach out to our guy, Bajan. He will hook you up. And y'all, we have a treat in store for y'all today. Backed by popular demand, BWL's own Mike Detillier joining us to talk about the 2026 Saints. Mike came on our pod last year, was a fantastic episode, much loved and appreciated episode just because of the respect and the love that the Saints and Who That Nation has for Mike D and what you've done on WWL, what you've done in the past with your draft guys, just a staple of the Saints and just Gulf Coast football draft, just community. So thank you for hopping on and joining myself and Wolf talking about the 2026 Saints. And even before we hit record, I asked Mike one question. I asked him one question. I said, how do you feel about the team, as in the Saints, next season? And we just had to hit record because we didn't want this to get left off of the cutting room floor. But before we get into that, just thank you for coming on, Mike. We really appreciate it.
Man, I'm thrilled to be on with you two guys. You've done great work, and I always appreciate other people putting in all that time, all that effort, to entertain and inform everyone, because that's what this business is all about. So, man, you two guys have done a great job. My pleasure to be on with you. I was telling you, Coach O told me, man, the one thing with you and A-Bear, ask you one question, and y'all can roll for like 21 minutes, and it's like a director's cut. Cut!
Extended edition.
Hey, we got to go to the next. We got to go to the next scene. What I was telling you is, I don't live in the past, personally or professionally, because Mike Ditka, he was not a successful coach here with the Saints. But he told me one thing one time, it's always stuck in my mind, as a much younger guy too, that if you live in the past, you die in the past. Okay? It's great to talk about what happened years ago and had good times, all that. But you always got to look forward to something else and always looking to build, always looking to get better. And I've done a number of shows and have asked me, from the end of the season till now, what's the big change? The big change for me is, are you better offensively than you were at the end of the season? Now, you can only look at it on paper, okay? Because I ain't seen them on the field. All this pajamas and slipper stuff, that's great. It gives us stuff to talk about, but it's not reality. Are you better off offensively today on paper? Yes. Special teams? Yes. Defensively, man, that's a big I don't know, because you can say next man up for Demario Davis. Man, all I'm telling you is you'll realize how good that guy was in the black and gold, how good he was on the field, in the locker room, as a leader on your team. You don't realize how good he was out there. Caden Ellis, he's a good football player.
Yes.
But there are other elements to this game, too. I would love to see them re-sign Cam Jordan. And specifically, I'm a big believer in this. And every time I go to say it, man, I'll talk, text lines light up. Mike, give it to them. Nothing wins games in the fourth quarter more than a pass rush. Cam could do that for you. In the fourth quarter, win you a game because of pressure. Pressure breaks that football pipe if you're a quarterback. Man, because the one thing you don't like to see in the fourth quarter, you figured, man, I've tired them guys out. I'm tired of them. I'm getting after them. And then you get a pass rush and you like, we in trouble here. So that part I really couldn't tell you. And Alontae Taylor's play here was a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes really good and sometimes maybe not as good. But he was one hell of a player here. And I would have took that money bag if they'd have offered it to me. What the Titans did, I'd have took that and run also.
Gone.
But that's the big question for me. How much better, or are you better on defense today? Because this team has made a concerted effort to add playmakers to the lineup. It's great to be fast in this world. Man, Speedy never had a bad day in its life. Never. But playmaking skills as a football player is key. And when you can go out and get a Travis Achan and you add that double tight end mixture of Noah Fant and Oscar Delp, Jordan Tyson, hopefully he can stay healthy. We'll see what happens with Lance, how quickly he can, kind of advance his route tree. The one thing I would tell him is, hey, look, just run down the sidelines as fast as you can, and I'll get the ball to you.
Go.
And also winning up front, because I do think that's a part of the game. I know you guys talk about it. I talk about it. But for a lot of people, they want toys. Man, I'm not worried. Big men, I'm not worried about that. No, you win in this league because of big men. I don't care if it's high school, college, professional. You win. Got to have a quarterback. Okay.
Yep.
We'll make that caveat. You got to have that guy. And I think you've seen enough to know, Tyler Shough, we got to build around you now. And that's what this offseason was all about. It was different. And I'm glad to see maybe some philosophical changes from the top with the Saints to say, hey, what Sean and Drew did, that was great. And man, we enjoyed the ride, but we got to do things different now. Okay. Because if you going back and do the same thing, you caught in the past and you're going to die in the past. And so I'm excited about the season. I still think this was a major rebuild on this football team. It just wasn't one or two, three pieces. You had a number of them. And that you've been able to clear out room salary cap wise, which I think was really, really important. And you'll feel the full benefits of that in 2027. But that you've been able to hit in one draft, that we've seen it on the field. And I think potentially with a second draft. But the most important thing, when I look at trying to piece together, I don't care if it's a college team or professional team. I had this conversation with a college head coach. It's still that today. Find me a left tackle. Find me a quarterback. Find me an edge rusher. Find me a center. Find me a cover corner. Those 5 spots, difficult. You can say, well, anybody can get that. Believe me, it's a lot easier said than done. When I look at this Saints team, you got your left tackle and your quarterback in one draft class.
Man,
crazy.
And then you gotta hope that, and got to talk a little bit with Eric McCoy. Jeff did the interview with him. He talked about the extensive surgery with his bicep, and that was a tough, really, really tough injury for him to come back.
Right.
If he's healthy, now you've got your center back in the lineup. And I think other than quarterback is the most important position offensively, to have that center. I'm in control. I got to control the other guys around me. and get a pass rusher. Chase Young, you saw the impact he made
Yes.
once he came back healthy. The cover cornerback spot is up in question.
Yes.
That is in question. That's why my thing was, man, if Mansour Delane was there in round one, it wouldn't even been a question.
Nope.
He's
No
the dude.
question.
He'd have been the dude, but that didn't happen, and that's why Kansas City traded up to get him. But you've got some pieces here, and don't we feel better today about it than we did a year ago?
Night and
At
day.
the same time,
Night and day. Night and day.
it's night and day when you look at it. So the NFC South really hasn't changed much, has it? I mean, it sort of looks like the same four sprinters hitting the tape at the same time. Who can get the best quarterback play? Who can win up front? Who can stay healthy? Because I do think that that's a big part of it. None of those teams really have great depth at any spot. So, but I do feel better about the 2026 Saints. And I have a friend of mine, Dean Cochran. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. Dean, longtime Saints fan, grew up in New Orleans. He went out. He was a starving actor. And I mean, real starving actor. But he made it big there. And he is writing the Simpsons movie part 2.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, if you look at the Simpsons, they've made a lot of predictions of stuff like years before it happened, and it actually came true. Well, he said, he came on the show with me. He was like, Mike, I'm telling you this, and I have never told anybody else. I got the Saints in the Simpson movie winning the Super Bowl for the 2027 season.
What? So next year.
Next year.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey man, that's pretty good because their predictions so far went pretty well. And I said, man, you make my life a lot easier, put it to you that way, with that. But you know, but you hear it. I wouldn't have heard that from Dean a year ago.
No.
But I heard that a month ago. You know, and I think you guys get it too from the feedback that this team isn't quite there yet, but they are closing in. And we'll see what happens this year with a break or two, because I look at it, this team is either going to go 8-9 or 9-8. They right on that border. And
that's what it feels like.
Good health and good special teams could get you to 9 games. Because I do think that was last year surprise to me that their special teams not only took one step back, they took 2 or 3 steps back. They weren't very good.
It was
bad.
No.
And so now you bring in Ryan Wright. Quick story with Ryan. I had to do a Tulane function when he was punting at Tulane. And so, you know, I don't know these players. You know, they don't have a jersey on, so I got no clue. This guy comes up, he starts talking to me and everything else. Man, I take a good look at him. I was like, Ryan, I said, what position you play? I said, fullback, tight end. He said, keep going. I'm the punter. And man, he was all of about 255 pounds. And I'm like, oh, whoa. And then when he punts that ball, man, he can hit it. And I mean, he's got some great height with his kicks and distance. But I think the addition of Barian Brown will really help this football team out. I saw him at Kentucky, saw him at LSU. We had on Willie Fritz. Willie and I go back a few years. And Willie was the first one to come up with, for us on WWL, Tulane Tuesdays. Yeah, could I do it? I know y'all not the station of but I want to be on WWL. You know, I want to get that outreach. And I was like, Willie, we can make this work. And he was like, I'll be there every week. You tell me what time, I'll be there. So he started doing it. So we got him on a couple of days before the Texas Bowl when they played LSU. And I told him, hey, Coach, I'm going to tell you this before we kind of sign off. Do not kick the ball to Barian Brown. And he started to laugh, and he was like, Mikey, let me just tell you. He said, we got a plan for Barian. And so what happens first play? They kick the damn ball to Barian, he bring it all the way back. When the Saints picked Barian, I told him what happened. I said, I told Coach Fritz, don't kick you the ball. He said, you wasn't the only one. I told him that too that day. But he said they made the mistake. And he said, I just brought it all the way back. So I think adding Barian to the along with Holiday, who's done some of that with the Vikings. And he can be backup running back also. You got the return game back. And my thing about it is everybody I've talked to this offseason, scouts that I know, they'll call me and like, Mike, find me the next Rashid Shaheed. My thing is, if it was that easy, you'd have found him by now.
For real,
like, man, we looking for him. Because Rashid, I think, and Wari sort of changed the way a lot of people look and say, man, if I could get a guy like Wari, if I could get a guy like Rashid, look what it did to Seattle, who was an above average team, barely. And then all of a sudden, Sam Darnold comes in, but they add Wari at safety. And then they bring in Rashid Shaheed. And he's never going to be probably a 1 or 2 receiver, but he's a great 3. And if you decide to kick it to him, like one team did in the playoffs, he made you pay the price.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm glad you mentioned earlier you talked about just the past and the Saints trying to move on from the past. I was watching the interviews from yesterday, and there was interviewing Tyler Shough, and behind him, there's like a big mural with Drew Brees and Jerry Evans kind of overlooking Shough. And I was just looking at that and I was just thinking like it's great that we, look back at, Drew Brees, the Drew Brees area, which we'll love forever. But I just was wondering, like, is Tyler Shough, like, will Tyler Shough have his picture up there on a mural, around the facility? Like, is he that next one? You know what I'm saying? What did you feel about Tyler Shough last year going into the season and leaving the season? When the season was done, how did you feel about Shough compared to how you felt before going into the season?
He surprised me how mobile he was. Now, that may have been at Louisville a little bit of we trying to protect him from maybe not getting injured by not letting him take off, stay in the pocket more. But he had always been a bit of a runner before. If it was at Oregon or Texas Tech, he had taken off, and he's a really good athlete.
Yes.
The first time I saw him take off downfield, I'm like, what the hell? Man, look at that dude run. Man, he's a lot faster than I thought he was. And you could see it. And you couldn't see that in practice. And because of the fact that, it's not made for that, but he's going up against other guys. He surprised me in that category. The other part was about his poise for a young boy. The game didn't overwhelm him. And I look at it, and we still get calls. You probably same thing about, boy, Spencer Rattler had the crew that he had late. My thing is, no, Spencer had a better crew early because, Rashid was still on that team and everything else. You don't get the fact. I think a lot of males don't like to admit somebody else is better than them.
Some people just better. Some people just better, man.
That's just the way it is. He was better, and he made people around him better.
That part.
That's the bigger key
Huge.
Around it. You look at the Chiefs. Okay, they're a different team with Mahomes, without Mahomes.
Yes.
If Josh Allen is not a quarterback in Buffalo, man, what? They're not the same ball club.
Nope.
Okay, but a lot of people, they buy into the coach's speech of next man up.
Man up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Quarterback's a different breed with that, bro. Like, you can't. It's different.
Man, what? Yeah. That's great for high school kids and junior high school kids. That don't work in college or pro football. It don't work at all, because if the next man up was that good, he'd be playing instead of the dude that's not playing at this point. He just brought you to another level, and look the people that he was winning with.
Yes.
That he was able to squeeze out them wins.
Randy Brown.
To me, amazing.
Dante Pettis.
This is unreal to see this guy play at that level as a rookie. Okay, because sometimes it can be a little bit of an illusion that first year of how you sense the game. I heard Drake May talk the other day about, in year one, he was like, all I was interested in was worried about what I had to do. I was so concerned about what I had to do because my mind was swimming.
Right.
Yeah.
He says, year two was different. I knew what to do, but then I knew what everybody else
needed to do.
Now you see that in Tyler Shough.
Yeah.
And the one thing is he's dedicated. He's focused. Yes, he's went through the scene here in New Orleans, Mardi Gras and everything else.
Yep.
But it's still about work. It's still about getting better every day, working hard to get better. And I think that is a bit of a trickle down to some of the younger players too. Man, you're a first round pick. I was a first round. So what? You better play because your career is going to be real short if you don't buckle up with it. And I think he exudes that confidence. It's quiet, but he
Yes.
that confidence out on the field offensively. And what I saw him do last year, and he talked about lack of skilled players. Okay, yeah, Chris Olave was there, and so was Jawan Johnson. But where was your running game? You got virtually nothing out of that. And who was your second and third targets downfield? Them guys ain't going to be in the NFL this year. They're just not. Not the way this team drafted and was able to go out and get people. I was impressed with him, but I'm always impressed with a young man who's never talking about let me tell you what I did last year. He's always talking about getting better as a player, getting better as a football team. That's what I look for in a young quarterback. And he certainly has shown it, man. That they had about the Mercury astronauts. Those guys had the right stuff.
Yeah.
He got the right stuff.
He does. And I think Ryan and I have talked about this, like his next step is just.
If you felt stuck trying to lose weight, you're not alone. Enter Weight Loss by Hers. It's designed to support you in reaching your goals. And Hers now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hers, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first GLP-1 available in a pill, so there are no needles needed. Everything is 100% online through Hers. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. And it doesn't stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Even better, with a range of affordable GLP-1 options, Hers makes it simple to find an approach that fits your needs and your budget if eligible. You'll get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. It's weight loss designed to work with your life. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/women to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/women. forhers.com/women. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk A.S. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit forhers.com.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Building upon what he did last season against, better teams, better defenses that, he's going to face this upcoming season. The last one that I had for you, Mike, as we get close to wrapping up here is Kellen Moore. The first year, at the beginning, it looked shaky, but towards the end, I think as fans or even people who watch the game, you kind of really saw the vision of what he wants to do offensively, and how he wants to deploy and attack defenses, and also taking the mantle of being like a head coach as opposed to just calling plays. What are the things that you want to see from Kellen Moore as head coach, as the CEO in charge, going into year 2 of that continued growth of what he needs to show in terms of him growing as a young head coach in the league? Yo,
I remember
what up,
Sean
Wolf?
Payton.
What are you looking at?
Man, I'm checking out this website. This site is cheeks, bro.
In the 21st century? How do you have a crappy website? Couldn't be me.
They need to hit up our guy Bijan with Precious Works. Precious Works offers to not only build you a website that's tailored to you and your customers' needs, but also to continue to manage and maintain it so you can focus on your business. Don't have much time? Precious Works is just what you need. No out-of-the-box stuff like Squarespace or Wix. Precious Works will create a site for you. You won't have to worry about plug-in updates, security, or things like that because Precious Works will maintain all of that and be available to you 24/7. Bijan set up Saints Block Party Podcast website for us a few years ago and hit it out the park. He also keeps it up to date and helps us anytime we want to add something new like a form or the prospect matching tool that we did for the NFL draft. It's like having your own personal developer just a text or a call away. Precious Works has worked with everyone from small businesses to large firms, so no job is too big or too small. If you're in the need of a website or you currently have one, but you want to upgrade it, give Bijan a holler at Precious Works. You can get with him at Bijan at Precious Works, Bijon at precious.works, or go to precious.works for his website. Make sure to tell him Saints Block Party sent you.
I remember Sean Payton talking to Bobby and I about this. He said in year 1, we had great success, but I was learning every day. It was like half step, half step, half step. I'd never been a head coach before. Right. Neither had Kellen. Okay. So, man, it's a learning process. Everybody wants to be the boss until you find out, hey, that's where the buck stops. It stops with you. And when you lose, hey, they blaming you. Yep. That's just the way it is. When you're a position coach, you can coach the quarterbacks or, the pitch and catch game, and that's your baby. Now your baby is all 53 guys and a developmental squad and everything else, and getting your assistants to understand what you're trying to teach. Right. The other part about it is, I think sometimes coaches make this mistake. They don't realize that locker room is controlled by the players. Mm-hmm. You better have really good veterans there that can control, when it's really good and when it's really bad, because you're going to get both during the season. You're going to get it when it's good. You're going to get it when it's bad. And I think he was able to do that. And he fought out of a real difficult start where that was a couple games that just slipped away from you. You look at the Cardinals game, the 49ers game early, slipped away from you. And then, man, Seattle and the Rams, they took the belt off and they spanked your back like you had stole money from them as a kid. They didn't.
BTA.
Man, this is what a really good team looks like. And he was able to get through that. So I think the consistency and also players understanding him better, when he comes to them about, okay, these are the changes we have to make to get better as a team. I think sometimes you can overload the cart as a young coach and you overwhelm them with stuff instead of understanding we got to win with the basics. And you see that with him. He's more confident with the media than he ever has been. How he talks to the players, how he relates to the older players, understanding this is a major grind. And guys, unless God called me up quickly, we all going to see an 18-game regular season. We can get ready. And that's much sooner than later. That's much sooner than later, the 18-game regular season of being able to build depth on your football team. I think that's such a key. I had on yesterday Tommy Rybecky, who's the head coach at Nicholls State, and it's a smaller school, but he was like, man, once we started losing our first team guys, we had no depth. We were playing freshmen. And he said, man, those eyes were like this when they hit the field. They just coming out of high school, and now you got to play, college football. I think that's the part of this team that I really think you're probably a year away from, of having built up depth.
Yeah.
And it is a balance about having older players and young players. Everybody, I want to be young. I want to be young. Okay, yeah, that's great. And I want a younger team too, but you better have some veteran guys. Been there, done that. And also they help you with the younger players, how to be a professional player, how to study, how to be involved more, practice time, and also watching film. Because now, if you want to make this job a profession, you better do it, because they got a young guy behind you. Man, I want that job. I might not be as good, but I'm willing to put in a lot more work than you. So it's the fine line, but I think you see it with Kellen this year, how he handles things. It's much easier for him. And like in any job y'all do, when y'all first started the podcast, look at how y'all did it then and how you do it now. It's totally different because you've got some experience now. You and I all the same on this. Man, we love content, right? Give me content. That's why, man, thank you. Good Lord. Man, Lane Kiffin, he give me content 12 months out of the year.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
And now, with Coach O there ain't no telling what's happening. But
boy, you good.
Shenanigans abound.
Man, so I got him on about a week and a half ago. And when I called him, he was like, hey, yeah, T-boy, I'll do it whenever you need me. Okay. He didn't tell me he was in Cabo on vacation in Mexico. So he's out on the balcony. Hey, guess what? I'm doing the interview. I'm on the balcony looking out on the beach. I'm like, what the hell? He's like, hey, you asked me, so I did it. Okay, I got it. I got you. No, I got you. I'm going to let you roll with it. So, yeah, it's for us. I think we always looking to have content that other people are interested in. That's why the OTA sessions give us that this time of year. And as the NFL changes and the season is gradually getting pushed back a little more and back a little more, I think we're going to come to a time other than probably late June in the first 2 weeks of July. We always
football.
One way or another. If it's training camp, regular season, a free agency, the draft, maybe another little shot of free agency. I think we're going to get that. Man, it's going to be 11 months out of the year. Won't be 12, but we'll get an 11.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Last one I have for you, Mike. I just wanted to know, how did you get your start just in the business? Did you start doing the draft guides first, or were you in football first and then you started doing the draft guides?
Man, I was an engineer.
What?
But yes, indeed. That was my profession for 29 years. And so this goes back to, I had a friend of mine I actually went in high school with, and he was dating Hap Glaudy's stepdaughter. Hap Glaudy was doing sports talk on WWL at that time, and Hap was looking for guests. And he was like, man, I know a dude, he could fall out of bed and he could tell you football stuff like nobody else. He said, well, he's in the business. He said, oh, no, he ain't in the business. And he said, he ain't fixing to get in the business. He's making a few nickels, doing what he's doing right now. So Hap called me up late one night. This is 1983. He calls me up. Hey, kid, I'm looking for somebody to come on with me tomorrow. He asked me a few questions and he said, stop right where you at. You coming on tomorrow night. That was basically my start in the business.
Wow.
It was Hap Glaudy. And then, other people picked up on it. A lot of people think it was Buddy D, but really it was Hap before Buddy. And then when Buddy lost his job in TV and became a full-time radio guy on WWL, he said, hey, I took this job with WWL. Man, I don't know how long it's going to last. I was like, Man, look, just tell them stories. Man, you got so many of them. Just, just do that part. And he started that, and I became more and more with it. My first draft book I put out in 1985. So I actually was on the radio for a couple years and then put out the draft guide in 85. And I did it all the way up until 2023.
Yeah.
And the little lady that lives with me say, enough's enough. I don't see you now. People don't realize how much work you put into all that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then to mail out and to go through the printers and all this other stuff. And she was like, okay, you've done this since 1985. You have run the gambit. That's it. The best part is I still go through the same process I did all those years. I still do today, other than I don't go to the printer.
Yeah.
I got all kind of yellow pads, and I still write everything down. I still get up at 4:30 every morning. I'll look at film. I'll watch film.
Wow.
I'll stop that and start that. Stop it, start it. And
Yeah.
my neighbor used to be Joe Clark. He passed away a couple years back. Joe was a record-setting quarterback at Santa Clara in the 50s and was the backup to Otto Graham in the
Wow.
Cleveland. And then he got into coaching. And man, Joe bounced all over the world. Then he met up with a Bayou gal, fell in love with her, and he stayed living down here the rest of his life.
That's what they do.
That'll do it. That'll do it. And so he would come here and, he would tell my wife, I'm going to just be here for a little while, talk to Mike. And like 5 hours later, he's still here. We watching film, And he's like, how can you see that? He said, as a coach, I'm just used to being given players. These are the guys, coach them up.
Yeah.
But he said, you watch film like 5-10 minutes and you stop it and start it and all that. And you say, okay, I know that guy can play. He's like, man, I can't do that as a coach. I couldn't form that evaluation that quickly. And so he taught me a lot about what to watch for film-wise, what to take a long look at. And Don Klosterman was another guy who was the former general manager of the Rams, had been a long-time scout in the league, was in the USFL. And he was very encouraging to me early on about you've got enough that you know what you're talking about, and just keep that up. And he told me something Jim Finks told me later, maybe a couple years later, was like, don't fall in love with the athlete, fall in love with the football player. And then that always sticks in the back of my mind.
Still to this day.
Workout dudes, and you say, wow, look at that. And then you look, you watch them and they don't play the same. So you was like, okay. And it always sticks in my mind, fall in love with the football player. Because Jim used to always add to the football player will beat you behind. The athlete, he'll look good on the sidelines as you getting beat. And he's right about that. He was absolutely right about it. So for me, my mom, when she was still alive, she was like, you could have done this when you were 12, 13 years old. I was like, yeah, but Mom, and you don't understand. It's a little bit more complicated today than it was when I was 12, 13 years old. But she'd always have that line with it. I've enjoyed doing it all this time. I retired from engineering. I swore never take a full-time job again. Never do. I love working during the football season, and we would do different shows. And then I get a call. You want to be part of the team here at WWL Radio? And I'm like, no, I ain't. And they were like, oh, this is what we can offer. Yeah, that's nice, but I don't know about working every day.
Right.
But after a while, you know what? That travel and you're around the same people every day, and you say, man, this is getting to be boring with me. I got to do something different. Right. And so it took me a couple of weeks, but finally I decided, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And so I've been blessed in life with a lot of different things, and it's I enjoy watching people like you two guys and see y'all blossom into this. in a new world, because, this is totally different. I think back in the 80s, I mean, they didn't have nothing like podcasts
Nothing.
and other stuff,
No.
nothing like that, nothing close. No cell phone, none of this other stuff. So you see that in the growth of the business, and where you can get information and you can get entertainment and information from so many different levels. And I'm a big believer too in getting guests that I think are really good and people want to hear.
Right.
And I've been lucky that Steve Geller and I, we work on that daily. We talk about Mike get a guest, get a good guest. And I'm like, I got it, brother. Don't worry about it. And so he was like, the one difference between you and me, he said, man, when you call somebody, you get a call back. Sometimes I don't get that call back. Or I don't get that response back. He said, but they don't like to tell you no for anything. So it's been a great run for me, man. I can't complain one bit. And again, a great joy in life is to see the younger people in this business, and to see what you guys have done, to see how many women are involved now too in the sports world, and how some of them are some of the best guests I have. Always tell this to Kim Mulkey. She's on my Mount Rushmore, because I can ask Coach Mulkey one question. She'll go on for like 11 minutes and good answers. I mean, it's not nothing she pulled out of the sky, because we don't discuss it ahead of time. I don't tell her what I'm going to ask her. And I always tell her, Kim, you on my Mount Rushmore. Michael, let me tell you something. You must not have a lot of guests. I was like, no, I get a lot of guests, but you are. And you guys understand it too, that you can talk, but you got to get other people also involved, because then it becomes almost like you hear the same stuff over and over and over again. And so we take a lot of pride in trying to get great guests. I know you guys have got it. My buddy Greg Cosell's been on with you guys. And Greg's awesome. And he comes on with him and I. So my producer, Charlie Long's like, man, I just sit back and listen to you. He's like, I'm like in a class just listening to y'all talk.
Yeah, like college,
And I know how much work Greg puts into it. And we got mutual respect for one another, because he knows I sort of do the exact same thing with it.
Exactly.
But for us, it's all about too. We grew up, wanting the Saints to win, and I wanted them to win when I was young, but I never saw that. I never saw it. They got people, when you start talking about things that happened, like when I was a kid or in my teens, the Saints, they wasn't winning nothing. And I mean, they were perpetually in the rebuild mode, perpetually in there. Now they went through a difficult stretch of bad drafting, bad free agent signing. You made a wrong choice with Dennis Allen. You should have gotten away from what was there and try to redo it another way. That's not a second guess either. That's a first guess. But you see now, I think you've got the right pieces in position. Now it's about developing those young players. If it's Jordan Tyson, if it's Christian Miller, Oscar Delp, who I think a lot of, and Oscar gave us a great line. Nobody was more excited than Christian Miller. He came on minutes after the Saints picked him. He comes on WWL. Man, he's so excited. Man, who that? Man, I grew up watching the Falcons, but I hate the Falcons now. I'm black and gold. Who that guy? And Oscar Delp had the line. I think it's Bobby that said, Mike, I want to ask him the first question. You've been labeled as a blocking tight end. How'd you get that label? And he said, I don't know. He said, because when I went to Georgia, I was a pass catching tight end. I was a lacrosse player. I was a pass catching tight end. But he said, you're not the system at Georgia. The system is what they want you to do. But I have to learn how to block. And I really think that we haven't talked about it, but I think the 3 tight end, the 13 personnel.
Yes.
Which, listen, if you talk to inventors, and they got a lot of people around where I live at, now they'll swear to you they ain't got a nickel, but they loaded to beat the band with money. They got boot money. You can't put it in a shoe. You got to put it in a boot. They swear I ain't got no money. But sometimes invention is because of necessity in life.
Yeah.
The Rams get wiped out at wide receiver, and all of a sudden, I got all these healthy tight ends. I'm going to 3 tight ends, 13 personnel. And when I first saw it, I'm like, did he really come up with that? And then you knew the backstory about the injuries. But then what you didn't think it out was how defenses will react to that.
Right.
If you go to 3 tight ends, you can't play base and can't stay in it. If I start substituting defensive backs, then I'm small. Then you know what I do? I mash the running game.
Run the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. And then now I got 3 tight ends that are 6'5". I send them over the middle. Good ruck trying to cover them guys, so to speak, when they get over the middle and you got a 5'10" or a 5'11" corner or a safety trying to match up against 6'5", 6'6" guys. The biggest change I saw on draft day, almost from the middle of the second round to the middle of the third. Look all the tight ends they got picked.
They flew off the board.
And now
unbelievable.
Everybody talks about, we're going to be in 12 personnel quite a bit. We're going to be in 13 personnel. The other part, and I brought this up at the end of the season, was that now it redirects your thinking. How many tight ends am I going to keep on the roster?
Yeah.
I can't just keep 3 now.
No,
I got to keep 4.
4. Yeah.
Because if my system is set up to do that, I'm going to have an injury somewhere. And so it redirects your roster a little bit in it. So I'm glad to see the Saints have put some focus there and bringing in a Noah Fant and an Oscar Delp to help out with Juwan Johnson at tight end. And just to see the mismatches. And now with coordinators with a year of thought, how do I play that?
Right.
There is no real good answer because, I've talked to Pete Jenkins about it. He's like, Mike, that's a hell of a question. And I've been asked about it before because if you go smaller, you know what they're going to do to you. They just going to set up and run it. And they'll run it down your throat. And then, if you stay in base, that linebacker, he can't cover.
Nope.
He can't cover. So, it'll be an interesting season, but I'm optimistic with the Saints as an improved football team. I would love to see what the roster looks like first week in September defensively. Because I know what you're going to have on offense.
Yep.
Defensively, that's what I'm more intrigued with than anything else.
Well, Mike, it has been a pleasure. We might have to get you on again a second time before.
And anytime you ask me, I'll make time for you guys.
We love the conversation. We love every time that you come on, and I know our listeners and viewers who just watch and listen to this episode were in football heaven, hearing old Saints stories, anything regarding you and just how the team may do next year. So always a pleasure. And thank you for coming on. And so for myself,
guys, appreciate it. Wish you guys the best. You're doing a great job. I appreciate it. And everybody else Mike. I've talked to always say, man, I love watching the guys on the podcast and all that. They say, man, we listened to you for a little while, then we watched the podcast. So I said, okay, you get the best of both worlds that way.
We appreciate you, Mike. So
Thanks
with that, thank you, Mike. You have a good one, man.
You too.
And with that, we are out.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.